There are so many moms who believe this feeling of happiness is the goal. And I was addicted to that idea. I want you to know.
I thought that being content as a stay-at-home mom meant that I would feel happy. But after my daughter's diagnosis, I quickly learned that happiness isn't the goal. Contentment feels like ease through the ups and the downs of our daily life.
So today I'm making just a steamer, I guess. It is milk with a little bit of Earl Grey and then some honey. I find that when I have a snack between, let's say 3 and 5 o'clock, usually more like exactly 4 o'clock, when I have a snack somewhere in this time range, I feel like I have more capacity for my kids' emotional meltdowns and my own emotional meltdowns when I have this snack. Now, where I learned this was Corey Malloy. I took her Freely Rooted course probably 3 years ago now, and I started implementing a pro-metabolic diet. And I'm curious if you do this, like an ancestral diet. I'm curious what your snacks are, because I really struggle with snacks. That is the one thing that I just can't seem to do. Like, I can hit my big meals and I can do a fairly good job, but where I start to kind of fall off the rails is like I struggle to eat snacks in between because of the time I feel like it takes to make them. And this literally took me, like when I recorded this whole thing, it took me 2 minutes to put everything together and put it away. But yeah, I have a really hard time doing that. Even though it only takes 2 minutes. Maybe if I know that it takes 2 minutes, maybe I'll be more apt to do it. But this is just a tip for you to be mindful of, something for you to think of is, am I getting upset with my kids in that witching hour, which is that 5 to 7 o'clock at night, when our patients have worn thin? And is it because I am not nourishing myself? Is it because I'm hungry? My blood sugar's low. I haven't had enough protein today. Like, what is causing the flare up, really? So I hope that this helps. It's been something that's been crucial in helping me to get through that little witching hour. So as I've been kind of cleaning up and sitting here waiting for my latte, I have been thinking a lot about contentment. I've been thinking about what does it even feel like to be content? And I hear so many moms talking about happiness and joy. And I think that those are beautiful parts of motherhood that we get to experience and enjoy. But I feel like contentment's different. Contentment is not necessarily a feeling. It's more of the ability to ride the waves, the ups and downs of motherhood with ease. I think of contentment as kind of this ease that happens within us to be able to withstand, the wildly, different experiences that we have in our day-to-day life, especially with little kids. We can go from having a great, high, awesome moment with just pure joy and happiness to a literal in the middle of the valley low. We can turn around and yell, scream, and lose our minds, right?
I'm pausing this video because if you struggle with anger or mom rage and are wanting tools that will actually help you to calm down, I have an 8-minute video where I walk you through 14 of my favorite tools that help me in my journey of mom rage. You can comment rage below and I'll send you the link to access it.
And I think so many of us moms, we're looking for happiness, right? So many of my videos here are about happiness because there are so many moms who want that. There are so many moms who believe this feeling of happiness is the goal. And I was addicted to that idea. I want you to know that after I had my second, who has a heart defect, which was not known about till after birth, I really thought I was never going to feel contentment, happiness, joy. I thought that the rest of my life was going to be in this deep, dark valley. And I've shared this here before, but I'll share it again. My counselor looked at me in the eyes and said, Alexis, motherhood is not about getting to the peak of the mountain. You're going to get there sometimes, and you're going to feel this immense joy and happiness. But it's about riding the waves, the hills and the valleys, getting to the mountaintop peaks and enjoying it and savoring it, but also learning how to walk through and get to higher ground when we're in the lows of lows. We are not going to escape the lows of lows as much as we would like to, as much as we would love for our life to look and feel different. We can't escape it, right? But we can shift our mind. We can use tools and resources to help get us out of a state of uncomfortability, get us out of a state of feeling sad, depressed, angry, frustrated, whatever it may be, right? Whatever the valley is that we're in, maybe it's rage, whatever that valley is, we have the ability to get out of it. We just need the tools and the resources. And that's really what I teach here. So I know what you're thinking. Okay, how do I get contentment, right? How do I get out of my season of being overwhelmed, exhausted, burned out, all of the things? And how do I become content? And I think it comes down to a couple of things. I think that there's a mindset shift that has to happen. I think that we need to go from thinking that motherhood is supposed to be all rainbows and butterflies and all the beautiful, wonderful things, which it is and it can be at times. But I think being really realistic and that there are also a lot of hard moments in motherhood, being very realistic about this and coming to an understanding and also an acceptance that we will not always be happy. We will not always have this feeling of happiness or joy. And I think the second part to this shift that has to happen is believing and knowing that, because I believe the belief part comes first before the knowing part, but believing that feelings, emotions, there is no good or bad. And when we take that off the table, we're no longer striving for what I call toxic positivity. Constantly, I was toxically positive about things to counteract my grumpiness, being miserable, feeling angry. And that only kept me stuck more. So how can I shift? How can I shift my mind from this state of frustration and anger and all of that? And it's simple, really, but it's a belief, and what this belief is doing is it is holding you and keeping you safe. It is safer for me to feel angry and frustrated than it is for me to feel happy and joy. And here's why. Because for most of my life, that is how I felt. Those were the feelings that were associated with me most of the time, with my childhood. That's how I felt, right? I was confused. I was unsure. I didn't know how to feel anything else. And so when I would feel joy, it felt foreign. So why would I want to feel that? And so I needed to separate and understand that this belief was serving me. It was keeping me safe because it was familiar. It was comfortable, right? Rage and responding in that way was comfortable. It was easy because that's what I knew how to do. But what was uncomfortable was actually stepping out of that and trying a new method, trying to calm myself down. And it was like this fear of like, what if it doesn't work? And then I would have to say, and what if it doesn't work? Like, so what if it doesn't work? It doesn't work. That's the biggest downside, is it won't work, And so for me, having this shift, this life altering shift helped me to see things in a different light. And there was no longer these really high peaks and these really low lows. It was more like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Let me just sit and savor in this. And then when I get to the low lows, it's like, man, I got to get myself out. How do I get myself out? What tools do I need to use that I've used before? And you start to become really familiar with that. So I hope that this video helped to broaden your perspective. I know it was a short one, but I think that contentment can happen. I think that contentment is honestly a beautiful gift, and it is a sign that we are able to really flow through motherhood in such an easeful and peaceful way. But we need to do the shift, do the mental work, the inner work to get there. And if this is something like, as you're listening to this, you're like, I want that. I want to be free of like my toxic positivity. I want to be free of constantly feeling like I have to be in this mountain peak of just happiness and joy. Like if you are there and you're like, I don't even know how to get myself there. This is what I do with coaching. If this interests you, there is an application that you can fill out and we can work together if it fits and it feels right and it feels like the timing is right. But this is something that I help moms to figure out how to move forward so they can feel content. They can feel like they can go through life with ease versus being so addicted to feeling happy and joyful all the time. So if you enjoyed this video, could you please give it a thumbs up? This helps me to reach other mamas who may also need this content. If you enjoy this content, I would love for you to stick around and press that subscribe button so that way we can continue meeting up and having these conversations together. Because I think that the more we surround ourselves with this kind of mentality, this energy, it starts to become normal. It starts to feel safe and familiar. And that's the goal. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and happy parenting.